All right, boom. We live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Swaggy Vets Podcast. I'm your host, Big Pen. I got my co-host with me, first Swaggy Vet. What's up, baby?
What's going on, Pen? Salute to everybody out there, all my Swaggy veterans and their family.
Hey, before we get into everything, man, the other day we had something tragic happen. One of our brothers who was in one of our units, passed away. And so what I would say to everybody is, man, get some life insurance. Make sure you're squared away with life insurance so your family is squared away in the case, in the horrible event that something tragic happens. And we're going to do on the podcast, matter of fact, next episode, I'm going to do what to do if you're a veteran and you need to do burial benefits for your family. If something tragic happens and you need to do burial benefits, we're going to do some information on that because that's very crucial. I spoke with this individual's wife and she's having trouble doing everything. So we need to do a segment on burial benefits for the service member. So make sure if you're watching this, look into it, but we're going to have something on it. So that's very important. Today, man, we got a very, very special guest. Been a friend of mine over 20 years, is an amazing individual, one of the top leaders I've had in the military. And we are just, it's an honor to have him on today. So we're going to bring him on. Is one of my good friends, Lieutenant Colonel Carlos Sanford, coming to the stage. What's up, baby? How you doing? Hey, what's going on with you, brother?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Man, what's going on with you?
Doing well, baby. Doing well.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on the show with us. Hey, before we start anything, I want to tell a funny story about the first time I ever met Carlos. This was back in the day. Now, he's an officer now, but he hasn't always been an officer. He used to be enlisted. So I was Private Bradley Pennington in 2nd Platoon, and one day I was late to formation. I get that notorious doom, 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 knock on the barracks door like you missed formation. And man, my team leader got me up, took me to formation. I was doing, the little duck walks around formation, the alligator crawls. Man, I got smoked the whole time I was there. And at the end, when PT was over and we was getting ready to go back to the barracks, Carlos came up to me, put his arm around me. Hey, man, don't worry about that. It happens to everybody. And you just got to drive on. And ever since then, he's been my friend. And he's been a good mentor to me and through all my endeavors in the military. And so I just appreciate that humble guidance that he's given to me. And we're honored to have you on the show today, brother.
That's right.
Appreciate that. You and John and the whole Swaggy Vets Apparel and what you guys are doing in the information space now is critically important to our veterans and the folks out there that need help. So awesome. I appreciate y'all having me on today to talk about a few things and to talk about my career and the things that have impacted me. And I don't know, some people may say success. Some people may say, hey, they could look at it differently, but things that have made me successful, at this point in career, at this point in my career. So thank you guys for having me today. I always appreciated you being my roommate. Yeah. Many folks don't know, but you were my roommate at one point in time. And I had the privilege of being the Swaggy Vets champion out there, John Jones. I was his time. So there's a lot of stories to share about, how our paths cross and sort of how you guys have inspired me and how hopefully I inspired you along the way. So let's get into it. I can't wait to, hear the questions you guys want to ask and share my experiences with you.
Awesome. So I know you've got a long stint in the military. You was you was first enlisted, and then you decided to make that jump, as we say, and non-commissioned officer to the dark side. What a lot of people don't know, things about you. Could you, give us a little background about your journey and everything you've done?
Okay. So I am originally from Zachary, Louisiana. I was born in Baton Rouge. My parents moved to Zachary when I was a young kid. Graduated high school and played basketball in high school, got a little scholarship, and went off to college. Didn't have any aspirations of joining the military. So as a matter of fact, military wasn't even, a thought in my mind.
Oh, wow.
So I was, just wanting to go play basketball and go be a physical therapist. That's one of the things I wanted to do. So I majored in biology, went to a state school in Louisiana called Northwestern State University. I did that for 2 years, but then something happened. I flunked out.
Oh, man.
Because I wasn't going to class. I think I, was in system overload, just wanted to do what I wanted to do, hadn't been away from home. So I ended up flunking out. And I went back home, back to Baton Rouge, which Northwestern State was about 2 hours north of Baton Rouge. So I went back home for the summer. And, for, the listeners out there, most people understand that the industry in Louisiana is pretty much oil industry, things, agriculture and things like that. So I got a job working at Dow Chemical in Assumption Parish. So every day I would go to Dow Chemical during the summer, and I started working a job there for about 6 months. And then one day I came home and my dad was like, "Hey, do you intend on going back to school?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I'll go to Southern University." So Southern University is a historically Black college, heart of Baton Rouge. And I was going to go there, try to enroll back in school that summer. And then I ran into, I think my dad kind of tricked the recruiter to come to the house. She came to the house and she talked, and I was like, I don't know about the Army. I don't know if I want to do that, right? So I'm an 18-year-old kid, trying to find my way. And then ended up, the recruiter ended up, catching on, and I ended up saying, "Hey, okay, this sounds like a good deal. I'll join the reserves." And next thing you know, we drove from Baton Rouge to New Orleans to the MEPS in Belle Chase. And I get to the MEPS and I'm like, you know what? I think I'll join active duty. But then my mom didn't know. So they thought I was coming back home. So I ended up enlisting, and instead of me joining the reserves, I signed up for active duty. And that's kind of, the start of my military career in 1998. I know I look like I'm about 21, but I got some time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you do.
But yeah, so I joined in 1998 and listened to the Army in 1998 as a motor transport operator.
Yes, sir.
Went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, did my basic training there and did AIT there. And that was the start of a fruitful career. And, our paths, you two guys, it's a funny story that I tell about how I got to the 82nd. So I'm sitting there in AIT, and I'll never forget her name, Drill Sergeant Howard. A lot of people know who she is, but she was, she ended up culminating as the Transportation Regimental Sergeant Major in the U.S. Army. So she was my drill sergeant as a private. So I'm sitting there, and, the class before us, one of our colleagues that was in Delta Company, Daniel Lee, was like a couple of classes ahead of me. And those guys are getting some of the guys are getting Korea, Washington State, things like that. And I'm from Louisiana. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to go to these places. Korea? So I asked the drill sergeant, I said, "Hey, what can I do to try to stay in the South?" She said, "Hey, Pride, you go to airborne school." I said, "Airborne school? What is that?" And she was like, she had a little grin on her face. Oh, you'll be a perfect candidate. Yeah. I said, okay. Me and my battle buddy, we're still friends with that guy named Samari Williams. Me and him, we ended up going to Airborne School together at Fort Benning and showing up at what I call the leadership laboratory of my career, Delta Company, 782nd. And I tell you guys, I'm a 05 in the U.S. Army right now, but everything that I have learned and really the ground, just the foundation of what I know in the military and what has shaped me, I learned everything from the individuals, just the culture of that organization has carried me along in my career. It was probably one of the greatest organizations that I have been a part of. And, we still try to stay connected to this day. So just a little bit about my background. I mean, in terms of, that's really, I have two careers, right? I have my enlisted career and then I have my officer career. And my officer career, I think what has gotten me to where I am is my foundation in Delta Company 782nd with individuals like these two on this podcast. And there's a lot of other individuals that have shaped me. So I attribute my success to being in that great organization. I mean, I tell you, it's a leadership laboratory. And still today, I go around and it's part of what I say to everybody. If you're not a Delta Company, if you're not a Delta dog, then you don't know what it's like to, press the situation to be able to know how to react to things. So I really appreciate all the leaders who have shaped and guided me and have gotten me to this point. So, and I'll talk a little bit. I will definitely share a little bit more about my officer career, but that's sort of like the foundation of who I am right now.
Yeah, man, we did so much stuff in Delta Company, and going back to the last two episodes, we talked about Biggie Smalls. Man, we did a jump with Biggie Smalls one time. We rigged up our trucks. We heavy dropped our trucks. We jumped out and we recovered our trucks. I thought that was the craziest mission ever, but that's the type of training style we did, and that's the type of leadership that we had when we were in that company, man. It was crazy, and it, just like you said, it shaped my military career also. It helped me have the foundation of the type of leader I was. It helped me have the foundation of my outlook in the military also. So
absolutely. So John, for example, so when John arrived at Delta Company, what he doesn't know is everything that I showed him and taught him was given to me when I was private in Delta Company. Because by the time he got there, I was a staff sergeant. So I was a staff sergeant, but I had grown up in that company as a young private. So really all I was doing was passing on the knowledge from folks who had, poured into me over time into him. And then he came to me with this odd question that I had never received before in my life, right? He said, hey, Sean, hey, I want to go to Ranger School. I'm like, what? Like, hey, you a freaking truck driver. What are you talking about going to Ranger School? And I say that and I bring that up because as leaders, right, we have to constantly be relevant in what we do, right? So I wasn't used to that question, but I knew that was something that he wanted to do. So I had to figure out, okay, I want to make sure that this guy gets the best opportunity to do what he wants to do. So ask the questions to see where can we go with this? Because I had never, everybody else was like, hey, they were just jumping on board to do what they needed to do to be the best 88 Mike that they could be. But no, John Jones was like, no, I want a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay, because as a leader, you got to change the times and you have to make sure that you're relevant. You stay relevant, because the soldiers that come in, they're going to change over time. And the questions that he asked me, I was like, you know what? That's a damn good question, because I'm like, I ain't never had nobody approach me with this. So he put something in my rucksack to help me figure out, okay, it's not just infantry, field artillery, armor, all the maneuver guys doing it. It's support MOSs that need to do it too. And 10, 15 years later, he Ranger qualified and every damn thing else. So I appreciate him, challenging the status quo and giving me a hard problem set. Cause I'm like, I looked at him like, man, what this dude talking about? What the hell?
You may not know this, man, but I asked several people, to try to get to that school. So it was only a handful. I would say it was like 2 people that really took the opportunity to really follow up with me, to really ensure that I got into that school. Got started.
Well, when I figured I figured you were serious about it when you came and you was like, well, first of all, physically fit. I mean, you were already physically fit, right? So that was the number one indicator that told me that, okay, this guy's really serious about it. Mm-hmm. And then when you came back around and asked it again, I said, well, damn, hey, I don't want to let him down. I need to find the answers for him so he can, because as a leader, you don't want to let you do not want to let your subordinates down. Mm-hmm. You want, because I work for you. You don't work for me. I work for you. That's the way it works, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, damn, I don't want to let him down. I want to give him the answers, and I want to see him be successful in this, because it's just something that he wants to do. So I'm glad that you challenged the status quo and went out there and did something different, because it challenged my thinking and understanding that, hey, I got to remain relevant, and I got to know that there's going to be some different things that people want, and I got to understand how to, navigate through these different situations to figure out how you can get someone an opportunity to make them successful.
Yeah. So Sanford, when you say, like, I know you did the foundation with your non-commissioned officer, I remember you jumped over and you was a second lieutenant. I couldn't believe it, because you was like one of the first people that I knew that transitioned from, an NCO to an officer. You know what I mean? Right. And for us, it was like the culture was, you NCO, you stay NCO, officers stay officers. You know what I mean? You don't cross that line, But then it was like, so I know that the difficulty level is different. You know what I mean? Like it's a difficulty level. Like one of them is training and one of them is hands off. You more on the back row, doing the back scene of things, handling stuff you can't see. So in that, so which one do you think would be like one of your most significant challenges you faced when you was coming from an NCO and you knew what you knew, but then the officer lane was totally different, and it's like you're doing it from scratch. Like your lieutenant now is like, I don't know, but I've heard it's like you're private again.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good question, because you can't change who you are, but you can change how you do things.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that. I like that.
You can't change who you are as a person, but you can change how you do things. So, I mean, you guys know, y'all been knowing me for over 20 something years. You know what I'm saying? I'm still the same person.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I changed how I approach different scenarios and different situations. So when I changed over at, being a non-commissioned officer and changing over to being a commissioned officer, I had to understand that, hey, I had to understand my role as a lieutenant, as a second lieutenant. I'm now, the leader of the organization. And being a leader is, like I said earlier, is I work for you. You don't work for me. So my job is to make sure you have all the resources to make sure you have everything you need to accomplish the mission. Now, the inverse of that is that sometimes individuals think that because they're the leader, it's like, hey, you must comply with what I say. So this is, these philosophical conversations I have all the time with guys who I mentor. There's a difference between compliance and commitment. I have the authority to make Bradley Pennington comply every single time. But is that what I really want to do, right? So if I want a high-performing organization, I want you committed to what I'm trying to bring to the fight, right? So my take is that, committed organizations, they perform a whole lot better than organizations that are just there to comply, right? They're just there because, hey, well, you're the leader, so I'm going to follow you, because that's what the organizational structure says, But you want to try to gain influence. So, for example, when I was a lieutenant and I just switched over, I had an NCO that I probably had more experience than. He didn't know it. I knew it. I knew I was more experienced than him. But do I come in there beating my chest and telling him, hey, I'm more experienced than you? No. I submit. I humble myself. I have humility. And I say, Sergeant such and such, here's the things that we need to be looking at as a team, and give him or her the left and right limits to accomplish the mission. And I do my thing. That's how you gain trust within an organization to make sure that, you can be successful. At first, I was just like, I want to jump in, right? Because I was always hands-on. I want to jump in. I want to jump in. I want to jump in. But you just got to, humble yourself and just kind of step back and kind of just watch things and observe, and then, move and navigate where you can to try to give them tips and pointers. But you're right. That switch from non-commissioned officer to officer is a hard one. And you just got to be able to be self-aware, right? And just say, hey, I'm an officer now. That's not my job to be executing things. I'm going to sit here and plan what we need to plan and lead the organization and direct the organization on where it needs to go. But my job is not to do the day-to-day minutia and execute things. So it was a struggle for the first couple of months. But once and then, having really good mentors, right? My old company commander is still a mentor today. Colonel retired Amit Miko. He was a great sounding board that I could lean on. Guys like Ledbetter, they were old company commanders from Delta Company 782nd. Colonel Robert Rowe, who's the 82nd Sustainment Brigade commander. He was our lieutenant. Just leaning on guys like that and just talking to them and asking the right questions helped me get to where I needed to be. But good question, great question.
Yeah, I saw. When we were in Delta Company, I remember getting a lieutenant. He had crossed over. He was an NCO, and he had a lot of trouble with that, because I remember one day he tried to march the troops, and Biggie Smalls came out there and said, "Hey, sir, you need to get that formation over to a soldier."
I remember that.
I said, "Dog, man."
Penn, it's funny you bring up Biggie Smalls, man, because you guys probably don't remember this, but when I first got there, so there's a long line of strong senior non-commissioned officers within Delta Company. I didn't serve with this guy, but I heard stories about him. Kind of like this guy, First Sergeant Ogletree, right? So when I got there, he had just left. I heard stories about him. The first sergeant that was there was a guy named First Sergeant John Burney.
Yeah, Bernie. I was there with Bernie.
Yeah. So Bernie, I mean, these individuals, I mean, they were like freaking God, man. As a private, you coming in and you seeing like, man, these guys are just operating at the highest levels, and then all of a sudden, this dark-skinned Carolinian show up from out of nowhere to be the truck. Well, actually, he showed up and he was our platoon sergeant for a little bit, but then they switched him over to be the truck master. He was a sergeant first class at the time, sergeant first class Bernard Smalls, right?
Yep.
And the military is, for the most part, is a hierarchical structure, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like layer upon layer upon layer. And from everything that I was taught in my professional military education is hierarchical. This is the first time in my career where I've seen a sergeant first class have about the same amount of power as the first sergeant.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the first time I was able to see, like, okay, this is a personality and a relationship type thing that leadership is not about positional power all the time. Although you can be a leader and you can be the leader of the organization and you can have a position of power, right? Leadership is about understanding people and people following you. And that's what, at the time, Sergeant First Class, now Command Sergeant Major retired, Bernard Smalls had. He didn't have positional power. He was a leader because of who he was and how he understood people. He wasn't the first sergeant, but everybody just gravitated to him because he was a guy who understood people and understood, personalities, and he just had his emotional intelligence was really high. So, that is something that is very rare in our military, and a lot of people have it, and some people just don't have it.
Yeah, quick story about First Sergeant Bernie. When I first got there, I got there August 2001, and I got word we just got back from NTC in October, and I got a call from my aunt that my mother had passed away. And I called Sergeant Cook was my squad leader. I called Sergeant Cook. I said, "Hey, my mother just passed away. I got to start making some arrangements." So he said, "Okay." And then about an hour later, he calls me and says, "Hey, I need you to come up to the company." Okay. I said, "Roger that." So I left the barracks. I came up to the company, and First Sergeant Bernie calls me in his office, and he sits down, he opens his drawer and pulls out this big wad of cash. And he says, "Hey, we took up a collection with the company. Here's some money. Go down there and take care of your mom, and we'll see you when you get back." So I thought that was just an amazing display of leadership and the way the company came together, because I was new. Most of the people in the company didn't really know me. They didn't know me from, anything, but they opened their wallets, and I got a lot of condolences from everybody, and and they really looked out for me in a time of need. So, that's the type of leadership that we're talking about when we talk about Delta Company. So,
absolutely,
yeah, it was crazy. So I know, Mike, we all have significant times in the military, and your journey isn't up yet. You still got a lot of time left in the tank. Like for me, one of my biggest things was when I went to Africa and was mentoring the Africans. That really impacted me, and I was able to do some good things. Can you tell us some memorable times that you've had in the service, and how it kind of impacted you and impacted maybe the people that you were with?
Katrina.
I have a few instances. One that's sort of a recent event that happened. Who's on deployment? I would, my last tour with 82nd Airborne Division when I was a field grade officer. I deployed twice, as an XO. But my second deployment as an XO in 189th DSSB, I had the opportunity to assist in a soldier. His wife was in Ukraine, and he hadn't seen his wife in about 2 years because he joined the military.
Wow.
Yeah, so he joined the military, and here's the other thing about this, right? He had a son that he hadn't seen as well. So his wife was pregnant, then he left, came to the United States, and joined the military, and all of a sudden, fast forward, now we deploy to Poland in support of the Ukraine and Russia conflict.
Yeah.
So, just long story short, we were able to help. Without going into all the details, we were able to help this soldier's family get out of Ukraine to come into Poland so he can see his wife.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Just seeing that, I mean, it's indescribable to see the look on his face the first time he's seeing his son. I mean,
wow. Yeah.
I can't that's an indescribable moment, and that's probably one of the most memorable moments thus far. I mean, there's a lot of moments in my career where I can, just really describe that have, even my promotion, right? I got promoted to major in 2019, and my dad was there 3 months after he passed, and I was able to have him enjoy that moment with me because he was really the driving force in why I joined the military. So to have him there, and he was struggling that day. I mean, it was one of his bad days. But he put on a suit, went and got a suit for him, a brand new suit, and he came in there, he sat down, and you could tell that he was just struggling, but he wanted to be there. So, just, seeing the look on his face and just, sharing that excitement in that moment in time with him was probably one of the most, memorable times in my career. But I mean, there's a lot of things that I can go into, but those two probably come to the forefront.
Wow. I couldn't even imagine seeing my family after 2 years, and your wife was pregnant. She had the baby, and now
he didn't even know his son, Penn. Like, he didn't even know his son, man. And just to see them connect for the first time, like, his wife was pregnant while he was in the military, and he didn't even know who his son was. So just understand the impact of this, right? They were trying to get out of Ukraine because of the, ensuing attack.
Yeah.
And they came and, I mean, this is why the U.S. is the U.S. This is why we are who we are. Because we're able to do things like that.
Absolutely. Man,
it was remarkable, man. I mean, just to see the look on this guy's face and his wife and him, to see his newborn child that he hadn't seen, that he probably didn't know if he was going to see him or not. That's indescribable.
Absolutely. Wow.
I remember a time, significant moment when I thought was impactful was when I was with you, Sandow, because when we was in Katrina. And I remember I was driving around. I was in the truck. I had a LMT Humvo. And you was like, Jonesy. And I was like, what's up, Sam? And you was like, I was just riding by. You stopped me. You was just around with the local people. And I think they was asking you for food. But you wasn't going to let them go. You was like, give me some MREs. I said, I got one box. He was like, give me that. I gave you the box. And I was like, what I'm going to eat?
Hey, but that was near home, though.
Yeah. That's what I know. So in that moment, like, I knew, just giving them that, after we had been there and seen the destruction, driving through what we had seen through, marking out the buildings, clearing the homes. Like, so, what they was asking for was needed. So just for them to ask for food was even, and that's all we had, so we was helping each other out. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, Hurricane Katrina is one of those moments, man, that, where, defense to civil support to like the State Department and all that. I mean, it's kind of chaotic, but, the military needs to do a better job, and we do a great job, but just, understanding the authorities and who can do what and things like that, it kind of gets chaotic. But I'm glad that worked out, because we find ourselves in some strange situations. And, I don't have to tell you this, John. I mean, I know you're you were a retired civil affairs, senior NCO. So, you can probably go into a plethora of stories on, how that stuff works, man. But like, just understanding that whole dynamic, it's a weird space to be in.
How long you serving now? How much time you got in now?
So right now I have, in June, I will hit 24 years in June.
Congratulations. So what would you tell yourself at 24 years? What advice would you give your younger self about the career in the military?
I will go into three things, right? One, always have fun, right? Always have fun. Probably on my enlisted side, I had more fun than what I'm doing now. But I'm starting to get to where I was when I was enlisted. Don't take yourself too seriously. I mean, life is too short. Have fun, enjoy the moment, because just life is too short, and who knows, what the next conflict is going to be. So that's one, right? Have fun. Number two, and I think I took pretty good advantage of this, but get educated, right? Get educated, right? Just continue sharpening your axe. Always learn something new. Always learn something new. There's a saying out there that it sort of goes like this. The hindrance to learning is not intellectual, it's emotional, right? So don't be emotional all the time about certain things, right? Because it's never intellectual. What stops us from learning is emotional, is our emotional self, our emotional being. We don't understand that, hey, just take away the emotions from it. You can learn from every situation if you can take away your emotions from whatever it is that you're trying to learn. Because the hindrance is always emotional, it's never intellectual. So number two is, just continue to sharpen your axe and whatever it may be. And you can learn from anybody. Just because you got a freaking PhD doesn't mean that you never stop learning.
Nope.
And then number three, as an officer, we always try to achieve balance. Number three is, probably in my company grade years, I probably would have tried to achieve a little bit more balance because my daughter's 18 now. And as a company grade officer, I was on the go, right? Wanting to hit the next milestone. What's next? And I didn't really pay attention to, my wife and my daughter like I should have. Mm-hmm. So just being a better father and a better husband is probably what I would have, those three things I would tell my younger self to pay attention to those things. Thank God I'm self-aware. You know what I'm saying? Like I know that I have those issues, but I'm trying to work at those things and get better at it because, you can never take yourself too seriously. Everything is not a freaking serious. It's not a serious problem. Mm-hmm. Have fun at it. And you always got to learn. You always got to try to sharpen your axe. And if you're married or if you're in a relationship, try to achieve balance and try to understand, if you got kids, be there. I was always there for my daughter when I could be, but I wasn't there. I wasn't in a mental and emotional sense, I wasn't there. Mm-hmm. So those are the three things that I would probably tell my younger self if I could, but it's hard to do. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to do in this military, especially when the mission is,
Over the years, I've learned the outlook I take is just to hit on what you were talking about. Number one, I turn my emotions down to 1 and I take my logic up to 10. And that helps you navigate a lot of things because like you were saying, if you bring your emotions into something, you can make a bad decision based off emotions and you might regret it later on in life. Mm-hmm. So I've definitely learned to take my emotions out of things and take a step back. As my younger self probably wouldn't do that. I've made a lot of dumb decisions based on emotions, but
trust me, I was there.
So I've learned to definitely take the emotions out of it, and as we progress in life, you learn from it and you drive on. So or you're supposed to learn from it. Some people don't learn, but it's all a part of life. You either go or no go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Experience
is the best teacher.
Oh, absolutely, man. So you got a lot of time in the military, Mike, and you probably got a lot of time left. What what have you seen change over the years in the military, and what do you think the future holds?
That's a hell of a question. So I think the institution itself has not changed. The mission, because we all know what the mission is, right?
Absolutely.
The mission of the Army is to fight and win the nation's wars, and to decisively do it. So the mission hasn't changed. But looking into the future, old guys like me, and I don't know why. I never thought I would say this. I'm like a gray beard now. I remember doing summertime training in Area J, and I'm looking at guys like freaking Big King and all them guys, and I'm like, man, those guys have been around for a while. But I think looking ahead, leaders like myself and those who are older than me, we need to understand and stay relevant, and we need to figure out a way. Because here's the deal, right? I think I alluded to this earlier in our conversation about leadership. I'm a leader by authority, right? I have positional power, right? No one is debating that. But what we need to understand as leaders is, hey, we need to make sure that we power down some of this stuff and empower folks who are smarter than us. Because I'm telling you, I don't know anything. I've been in organizations where, man, these guys are freaking smart, and they know, and folks know more than I do. But I'm the one that's charged with making the decision. So we need to do a better job in understanding the capabilities and the individuals who come in the military. And because I'm telling you, man, these kids today are way smarter than what I was, and they understand technology better. So just leaning on them and understanding what they could bring to the fight is what I think that we could do better in the future. And the military has changed. I mean, even since. John, so you've been retired for how many years?
4.
4 years. How many years you been retired, Penn?
October 2019, I got out. So almost 5.
Almost 5 years, right? So within a span of 5 years, you guys if you guys were able to come back in right now, you'd be like, man, what in the world? It has changed. It has changed so much, but you still got dinosaurs like me. I'm still navigating through some things, and I have to stay relevant. I'm the one that's got to do the work, because the force doesn't look like me. They don't think like me. So I got to do the work and stay relevant with them. And I'm willing to do that because guess what? I want to make sure they got the resources. I want to make sure they got what they need. I want to make sure that I'm planning the right way. I want to make sure I understand how they think. I want to make sure that, all of these things that they could bring to the fight. And it's 5 domain warfare now, right? Land, sea, air, information, cyberspace, space, all that. So it's a different fight. It's no longer a kinetic fight, so to speak. There's some other things happening out there in the space. So just understanding how to, better connect with our these new soldiers coming in the military, I think is where we need to be.
Okay. So
yeah,
I like how you said about how the technology, because even when I had got in, I came in and I was pretty much faster than a lot of people that was already there. So I could see how the generational gap and the jump in technology is really enhancing our military forces, but also those guys that have been that came in in the 90s, how you guys have to work to keep up with a lot of things, because military is going really faster with technology and plus the war and stuff that's going on. So I know I didn't really think about how how I put it, the senior guys can really have to stay relevant and also be leaders amongst leaders.
Yeah, and And part of that though, John, is being humble, right? So if a question is asked to me, I can say I don't know.
That's right.
And I genuinely mean that. Like, I don't know. Teach me, show me. You know, I have to do that, because what happened is if something's asked and I kind of just blow it off and say, well, I kind of understand it and I really don't, what kind of leader am I?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to be humble enough to say that I don't know. And that's because you can't know everything. No one, I mean, you know, you just can't know everything. So I'm going to lean on guys and gals who know these things to help me understand, you know, this complex environment, because the environment today, to where when y'all were in, is way more complex than what it was back then. Way more complex. There's more domains that are being contested. Not getting into, you know, without getting into the weeds, but there's you know, there's a whole lot of more things. And, you know, I mean, this is open source, but there's a whole lot of more things that are contested than you guys were in. So you just got to be able to understand that and be humble and have humility.
Right. I would say for a lot for me, like, even like how you mentioned the leader, like when I got out, I would say for me, one thing about me when I got out is that my mind and my body kept going, but the Army stopped. The leadership stopped. The phone calls stopped. And I would say trying to stay relevant stopped. You know, just in the blink of an eye. And that's when I realized it's a transition that you have to get ready for. Physically, spiritually, and mentally, because no one's telling you to get up and run anymore. No one cares what no one's caring about your report, how you wrote it, how you sound. It's now it's our eyes on me, by me. No one else cares. You know, you don't even have the name no more. You know, so even when you go and you start transitioning out, what do you think, from what I'm telling you and when you see other people, how do you think it's going to be like for you to set yourself up to transition out of the military? Because you have to now be that father figure full time, or, you know, going to your second life or whatever you want to do, whether it's happiness, do what makes you happy. You know, what do you think? What are some things you're taking on right now to encourage yourself to go into that next step? Because for some people, it's very difficult to walk out the military.
So man, that is an awesome question, John, because I got more time behind me than ahead of me. Although Penn thinks I got more time ahead of me. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Listen, hey, hold on.
Hey, John, he want me to stay for 50 years, man. I'm like,
hey, listen, I want to do that.
Hey,
put you out.
Hey, man, this joke is talking about, hey, man, I know you got more time. I'm like, no, I got more time. Trust me. And, you know, I'm just being a realist about it. I got more time behind me than in front of me. So that's an awesome question, man, because my wife and I talk about this all the time. I have conversations with her all the time. You know, we just kind of, you know, war game and, you know, guys, hey, you know, if I go here, you know, what can I do there? Now, disclaimer, I'm still in the game. I'm still in the fight. I'm still a soldier. I'm still going to lead.
Right.
But I'm a realist in understanding that, hey, at some point in time, the Army's going to take, I am going to culminate. And that's okay. So one of the things that I've been doing is I try to, you know, and this is a two-front thing, right? When dealing with, and what I'm about to say is, it'll probably segue into, you know, some of the questions you guys may have later, but veterans, right? A lot of veterans have mental wounds. They have these invisible wounds, right? So what helps me is, because I've been in combat just like you guys, right? You know, the OIF, OEF, and all that stuff. But what helps me is staying connected with you all, right? And staying connected with you all and having conversations with y'all and talking about the old times and things like that. We're always going to have these invisible, you know, these mental scars and these things that we've struggled with, you know, where you know, Penn may have been on a freaking, you know, convoy logistics patrol in Iraq or something like that, where he's had a dilemma where he wished he could have. I wish if I would have done that, then it would have had this outcome.
Oh, 100%.
Right? That's never going to go away, because you're always going to grapple with those type of issues in your head. But the way that I deal with, transitioning and how to deal with some of these mental and these emotional scars that I've dealt with is connecting with veterans, going to what we've talked about before we got on this, production today, going to our annual Delta Dog reunion, connecting with each other, loving on each other. Hey man, how you doing? How your family doing? What are you doing now? Just being around each other. That's how it doesn't 100% heal you, but it helps you transition your mind to like, okay, so John is like, okay, hey man, I'm doing this and this in this space. You never know. Somebody else could be doing the same thing you're doing, and y'all could just have a connect right there. Y'all can connect and you can do other things. So the other side to this is, in terms of me transitioning out of the military, I have to be okay with where I'm at. Right? If I don't get promoted to 06, I got to be okay with that. I can't transition out of the military being with a sour taste in my mouth. I got to be like, hey, look, I gave it all I got. I put it on the playing field. I've had some base hits. I hit a few home runs. I helped the team win. I got to be okay with that.
Right.
I can't be like I'm the star player, because you guys know there is no star player. We're all here as a team to make sure we win and fight the nation's war. There is no star player. Everybody can get a base hit. Every so often you might get a double or a triple. Hell, if you're lucky, you might get a home run.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So just understanding that, like right now, I'm in the mindset, I know I'm going to take battalion command. I know that. I know I have that coming up. So everything all of my energy is focusing on maybe, taking care of the soldiers and the families. But I know that at some point, I got to start transitioning my mindset. And guess who I'm going to pick up the phone and call? I'm going to call Bradley Pennant. I'm going to call John Jones. I'm going to call Robert Privilege. I'm going to call freaking Biggie Small. I'm going to call all you guys that have transitioned. Hey, what did you do here? What did you do there? Talk to me about this. Because I don't have all the answers. But I know who do. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, but
no, you did. Great answer.
Yeah.
And then you said, hey, go ahead, Penn. That brings me to another question, saying, because you about to go and be a battalion commander. So I like I said, I ain't been no battalion commander, but I've seen battalion commanders. I know, and for my job, even when I first started, it was time consuming. It was late nights. It was staying late. It's the mission first.
Right.
My question to you is, how do you plan to balance that battalion commander's life and also your family life?
Man, I tell you, boy, you keep coming with haymakers, man.
You're doing it. You're the one doing it. You're going up and up that ladder, which takes more and more of your time.
So, you know what? That's a great. I tell you, every question you ask is like a haymaker, man. I'm like, this guy here, man. He trying to freaking. But hey, but okay. So I have a theory out there, right? The more you move up the ladder, the less decisions you have to make. It seems awkward, doesn't it?
Yeah, trusting your leadership, your subordinates.
There you go, Penn. He hit it on the nail, right? So what I have to do, I have to develop and train my field grades to operate and empower them with making decisions at that level. You see, because most battalion commanders, and I've never been a battalion commander either, never. So I'm gonna figure it out though. I promise you, I'm gonna figure it out. The one thing I'm going in with that I know I can't fail is I gotta take care of the soldiers and their families. That's one thing I gotta do, and I can't fail that. I gotta do that. But everything else, as I go up this ladder, I got to make sure that I empower individuals to make decisions at that level, because if I don't, and I pull all the decisions up to me, that takes away from my time.
That's right.
I have to worry about the decisions that are important to me.
That's right.
So I say that to say this is that as you go up the ladder, you should be making less decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You should be making decisions that are important to the organizational effectiveness, obviously. So I'm looking at it in that framework, like, hey, I need to be concentrating on making the decisions that really impact the organization. I can't be worried about, like somebody asking me some trivial question about, hey, how many trucks we got or whatever like that. No, that's not a decision for a battalion commander. No.
That's right.
Like that empowers, someone that, I mean, hell, anybody can answer that. Anybody can answer that question.
That's right. And one thing I had, because you about to go up to that position to where you, like you said, you got to train them. So you already gonna be worried about their welfare, the being, because you're not operating at that lower level no more. You know what I mean? So you really like operating like, at the welfare, the being, the function, the morality, things partner with the sergeant major, things like that. So one thing I had was a battalion commander who always emphasized go home on Friday. You know what I mean? Like he was a family guy, at that level. Like you said, I can't be there, but I can see we always gonna win the nation's fight. But what about family?
Hey, I like that. I mean, hell, I like that initiative. But understanding that I have to make sure that whatever I'm doing is nested with the commanding general and the brigade commander's priorities. So I don't make decisions outside of what I can maneuver within what they want to do, So, for example, right, if I say, hey, Fridays, you guys kind of do what you want to do, right? And that's contrary to what the division commander and the brigade commander wants to do, then that might not work well out. That might not work well with me. That might not work out well for me.
Right.
Now I can jump on a grenade and say, you know what, I'm gonna do what I want to do anyway. But I'm not the type of person, right? I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing is nested with the brigade commander and the division commander's priorities, right? And we can meet in the middle. I can go to the brigade commander and say, hey, sir or ma'am, here are, my soldiers have been doing A, B, C, and D. I want to try a new framework, giving them time off. And if it works, right? But at the end of the day, I'm a leader. I'm a leader's leader. So I'm not going to give them soldiers. I'm coming for the leader. I'm coming for the person who's in charge. That's what I'm coming for. I'm not, Jane Snuffy, Joe Snuffy. I'm not coming for them. I'm coming for that freaking company commander. That's who I'm coming for. Hey, look, you knew what the guidance was. How come you did A, B, C, and D? Because those are the individuals who I'm empowering these decisions to. And they got to make the right decisions, and they got to make the right calls. If they're doing the right thing, then we'll be fine. But if they're not, and they're lazy and they don't want to do the right thing, then it's going to cause some friction, and that's okay. Because when friction happens, I move to the point of friction. So when there's friction, I'm moving to it. And that's just the way it's got to be, man. But that's a great question, though. I because my daughter plays volleyball in college. So one of the things that I'm looking at is, hey, when she's got a game, I mean, it's like 2 hours away, right? So I may just, tell a sergeant major and the XO, hey, look, I'm taking off going to my daughter's game, right? So what that does, that sets an example for them. Like, hey, look, my family is important to me. If I can take off and go to my daughter's volleyball game, guess what it does for them?
Empower
them. If their kids have something going on, they can come to me and say, hey, sir, my son or my daughter has a soccer game or a ballet. Hey, and you know what I'm saying? Hey, why you telling me? Go. You need to be there, because guess what? When a nation calls us to go to, wherever, then we can't be there.
That's right.
We're gonna be where the nation calls us to go do what we gotta do. So you spend this time focusing on your family.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a fine balance, you know what I'm saying? Like we gotta accomplish the mission in garrison, and we gotta train the soldiers, and we gotta train for our next mission. But that's not to say that you can't spend time with your family. Mm-hmm. And those are things that I'm gonna focus on. And you know, those are the things that I'm gonna foot stomp and make sure that leaders know. Because the one thing I don't want someone to bring to me is somebody, you know, some soldier was, your wife was pregnant or something like that, and they was in the field and they couldn't go. If I hear something like that, I'm going for the jugular. Mm-hmm. Because ain't no way a soldier shouldn't be there with their spouse, and their spouse is happy, and they shouldn't be at the hospital being there with their wife, and they're having their first child or something like that. If I hear something like that and it comes to me, I'm going for the jugular. Mm-hmm. So,
right.
Bad leadership.
Right. That's a good outlook to have. I remember when I was on the PSD for the colonel, when we were deployed, man, my colonel, his battalion XO, this dude was a rock star. And my battalion commander liked to go out and about in the battle space. We was always gone. And he had such a rock star XO that he was afforded that ability to do that because the battalion XO was that good. Hey, he's like, hey, sir, go do your thing. I got it. And he was able to go out in the battle space, and we was right there. We was always gone, man. Every day we was gone.
You know, you bring up a great point about battlefield circulation, right? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna ask you guys a hypothetical question, right? What do you think battlefield circulation came from? Where did that term derive from?
I don't know. You there? Did he freeze?
No.
Oh, okay.
What do you?
When I came into the military, it was already there for the leadership to do battlefield circulation to see their soldiers, so their soldiers wouldn't say that, hey, we're out here and, you know, the upper leadership doesn't do anything, but they expect us to be out here.
I would think it creates morale too, to show that the leadership cares about them, maybe.
So historically, because I have an undergraduate degree in history. Mm-hmm. Historically, the term comes from a general by the name of George Washington, First Continental Army.
Yeah,
George Washington happened to be the general of the First Continental Army. Mm. What he did was he did battlefield circulation at the Battle of Yorktown. He would go visit his troops to ensure his troops were ready. He would talk to them. He would find out about their morale, which is why the guys fought the way they did when they were undermanned. So battlefield circulation is a real thing. Mm-hmm. That term originated from him. So it is appropriate for a commander to get out of their office, to walk around, to talk to the troops, to see what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. And I ain't talking about talking to the NCOs. I'm talking about talking to the troops. Mm-hmm. In the foxhole with the troops. Hey, how you doing, John? Hey, how your family doing? Are you getting what you need? Because guess what they're going to tell you? No. They're going to tell you the real. The NCOs ain't going to tell you the real. The NCOs going to tell you what they think you want, what you want them to get. What, you know, they're going to tell you some old bull crap. Oh, sir, everything's good, everything's fine, right?
And them soldiers going to tell you.
Trust and believe. They're going to give you the facts. So that's, I mean, you know, but in order to have a battalion XO who can do that, you got to train them and tell them what your priorities are. So that way they can run the day-to-day minutia while you're out there doing your battlefield circulation, you know, and then in the sergeant major, y'all got to divide and conquer and kind of, you know, figure out but that comes with counseling. That comes, just sitting down with the command sergeant major and understanding, and y'all both understanding, your left and right limits and the strengths and things like that. So, I'm excited, John.
I definitely encourage you when you become a battalion commander to please walk around and talk to your soldiers.
I will, man.
Because I remember my leadership, even when I was the first sergeant, people hated when the battalion commander, even my commander, hated when the battalion commander talked to soldiers. Because a lot of things then go up that the soldiers want to talk to battalion commander or sergeant major about that he was like, I'm going to keep it at my level. And sometimes, even if you want to hear those stories, I would, you could get, like you said, you'll be able to get the dynamics of, what's actually going on in your battalion. Because you got 4 to 6 companies to worry about.
Well, I'm probably gonna have like 9 to 10 companies. I'm gonna have those 4 support companies as well. Yeah. So, but the thing is I don't necessarily have to do and act on everything they tell me.
Nope.
I just have to know what their concerns are. Because I'm not gonna be able to fix every single issue. Right? Because I can come back to John and Brad, Captain Jones and First Sergeant Pennington and say, hey man, I was out here talking to your soldiers. They're saying, this and that is going on. What are you guys doing about it? Because I'm smart enough to know, and I'm old enough and mature and wise enough to know that there's always 2 sides of the story. So I'm never going to make a rash decision to say, hey, well, Captain Jones and First Sergeant Pennington, they're not doing the right thing. I'm going to always give you the first right of refusal, because guess what you are? You're their leadership. I can't, and I'm not finna come in like Superman and say to the world, stop telling me these problems, but I'm gonna come back to you. Hey, private such and such is telling me this is going on. Are you guys tracking this? Because you might not be tracking it. And I want to give you, the ability to fix the problem and make you the hero. And guess what that does for you? That strengthens and gives you more cohesion within your company. Now, if I saw the problem, then it could be an issue. Because now it becomes us versus them type thing. The commander and the first sergeant didn't solve the problem. I had to tell the battalion commander to solve it, and he fixed it. What does that do for me? Nothing. It doesn't do anything for me. What it does is it creates dissension ranks for you guys. And I don't want that. I want you to lead your company. I'm here for you. But I can't do that until I go and talk to the soldiers and things like that. That's why I hope when I get down there that the company commanders and the first sergeants, they will welcome me coming and talking to the soldiers, because they need to understand is that, hey, Lieutenant Colonel Sanford's not down here to talk to the soldiers because he wants to help them. Yeah, I do ultimately want to help them, but I want to help you help yourself.
Right.
Because they might not, because they might not want to talk to y'all.
That's right. Yeah. You just, like you said, you want to do like check the well-being and the development of the soldiers, so they trained, they ready to fight. Like you said, George Washington did.
Yeah.
Which I get it. Like the overall look at all the companies and everything, not just the individuals. So I get what you were saying. You can't have individual problems.
Organizational leadership.
That's right.
So accomplishment of the mission. What they say, leadership is accomplishment of the mission and improvement of the organization. So we need to get a funny Biggie Smalls story from you. Well, I think you was going to touch on it.
And it went out.
Yeah,
the leadership story you was talking about, it went out.
It did, bro. But real quick. So, like I said, I don't think it's a funny. I don't know if it's a funny story, but it's a story about leadership and character and who he was as a person. So, I was I had re-enlisted in Iraq to come back to the 82nd. People thought I was fucking crazy. It was like, the 82nd? I was like, yeah. I re-enlisted, and a lot of people don't know this, but I ain't gonna say it online, but I re-enlisted. You know, I got a little bonus. I got a nice little bonus to re-enlist in Iraq, tax-free, to come back to 82nd. So after my 15-month deployment, I PCS back to a place called Mannheim, Germany. And First Sergeant Bernie, right, was the command sergeant major in 28th Transportation Battalion at the time. And he told me, he said, hey, you can go back and go see Smalls. And because I think I got back and I took leave, but I flew into Fort Bragg to go see Smalls because I knew there was some platoons opened up via the cables, right? I thought I knew there was some platoons coming open, so I fly into Raleigh, drive into Fayetteville to go see Biggie Smalls, and I'm sitting in his office. He said, "Hey Sanford, if you can get back at this time, I give you a platoon. Shady J leaving, right? Everybody know who Shady J is." Right, so Shady J leaving. He said they running amok down there. Shady J leaving. You can take Shady J platoon. I said, okay, cool. I said, I just got to go back. Got out process. I'm coming back. All right. So I did what he told me to do. I go back, man, and I go back to Germany, out process Germany, and fly back to Fort Bragg, now known as Fort Liberty, and I come back to Fort Bragg and a good friend of mine who's a command sergeant major now. We went to basic training together. I love him like a brother. Hot Rod. Marco, the basic training together. I mean, me and him, we have been trekking the Army together our whole career. Matter of fact, I went to go see Marcos right before he took his command sergeant major job at Fort Leonard Wood. He is,
he's at Leonard Wood, yeah.
Talk about full circle. He is the 58th Transportation Battalion Command Sergeant Major right now, and we were there together back in 1998.
We went to AIT. Yep, that's crazy.
So I get there, and me and Marcos, we're both staff sergeants, and I go into Small's office, and I can see the look on his face. And I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "Hey, first I'm back." He said, "Man, I had to get a platoon to Rod." I was like, "Okay, cool."
What else you got?
I said, so I'm like, what else you got? You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I should have been platoon sergeant because I was a squad leader 15 months of hard combat in Iraq. So I felt like, hey, I already met that requirement. He was like, nah, I got to put you in Williams platoon. You're going to be a squad leader again. And that's when I met John, when I was a squad leader up under Sergeant First Class Williams in this platoon with John and Black Will and all you boys. That's why I met all the new Delta Dogs. Yeah. So I was like, man, this didn't work out. So here's where Smalls comes in at. This is why still to this day I respect Smalls as a man and as an NCO. So the division transportation officer, Sergeant Major, saw me running down Ardennes, and he was like, "Hey, where you at?" I said, "I'm down in Delta Company 782nd." He said, "Hey, do you want to come to the DTO office and work for us?" But I had met him in Germany, in Mannheim, and he remembered me. And I was like, I don't know if my sergeant major and my first sergeant major. He said, "Hey, if you want to come, let us know. We want you and we need you." So I went back that day and I told First Sergeant Smalls, I said, "Hey, the sergeant major at the time, the guy name was Sergeant Major Melton. I said, hey, there's an opportunity for me to go to the G4 in the 82nd Airborne Division headquarters to be the G4, to be one of the mobility NCOs for the division transportation."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I don't know, Sanford, man." He said, "Man, I don't know." He said, "Man, I don't know if Sergeant Major Alfaro gonna let you leave." Y'all know Sergeant Major Alfaro, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wild man.
Yeah. So he's like, I don't know if Sergeant Major Alfaro gonna let you leave. And I was like, so I had to weigh my options. I was like, do I want to stay here and be a squad leader and stump my growth, or do I want to do something kind of like what you thought, John, when you said you wanted to go be a Ranger, right? I'm like, I got to make a decision. I said, I've been a staff sergeant. I think I should be a platoon sergeant. I need to go do something different. Mm-hmm. So I decided to do something different. So I went back, I told Smart, I said, hey, look, I think I want to go to the Division Transportation Office to go up there to the headquarters to be a mobility and skill. He's like, and this is what he said. He said, all right, Sam. I thought he was going to say, no, you're going to stay down here and you're going to roll and you're going to do your thing. He didn't say that. He said, all right, Sanford. He said, man, I support you, whatever you want to do. And to me, that gave me assurance that I could go do whatever I needed to do. Right. So I went down there, I interviewed for the job. They said I had the job. But there was a little turbulence. The battalion command sergeant major didn't want to let me go.
Alfaro, yeah.
He didn't want to let me go. But someone higher than him called down and said, you will let me go.
I know that's right.
And I went to Smalls and I told him, I said, hey, and still to this day, we actually talked about this. I told him, I said, look, I appreciate you supporting me on this, man, because he could have, I think he knew the battalion sergeant didn't want to support me, but he didn't care. Mm-hmm. He was more concerned about my development, which is what I appreciate to this day, which is why, I consider him an important figure in my life when it comes to the military, because he said, hey, his development is more important because I can't put him in a platoon sergeant job. I don't have it available. Mm-hmm. So if he wants to do something different, so he's probably one of the reasons why my mind changed and one of the reasons why I started to change. And when I got up there, guess what I did? I changed over I put in my packet to change over to be a commissioned officer. So now here I am. So he's one of the driving factors behind that.
Yeah, because that's around the time we became roommates when you got back from Germany.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. Yeah, so we don't want to talk about the roommate thing about like honey buns and meat market. Hey, John, look, hey John, it was like Food Line. You know how you go to the honey bun side of Food Line?
Yeah.
Well, that was his side of the house. The meat market side was my side of the house.
Man. Hey, so go ahead, John.
So how long you got to your commitment is if you get 06?
Well, everything so everything that I do after here is a 3-year commitment.
Okay.
So every rank I get is a 3-year. I mean, I could retire obviously anytime, right. but for me to keep the rank and to keep the pension, I'd have to wear it for 3 years.
Understood.
Yeah, because you're still under the big 3. Right?
Yeah, so I'm so I'm still up under the big 3 retire. Like the not big 3, but the so what is it called? High 3.
Mm-hmm. High 3. Oh yeah. I got you. Because now soldiers are coming in, and I think they've been doing this for a couple of years. They're
doing like the blended retirement system and all that. But I'm still up on the high 3.
Yeah, like the 401k type of deal. Yeah. So, hey, so I know you say you got a couple years left. You don't know what's going to happen after you take command. You got to see, how check the temperature still. So what are your aspirations of the future after your military career?
I don't know, man. I mean, after the military, I'll probably stay in the defense sector, maybe do some things, maybe do some consulting. I might dip my hand into some politics and stuff. I don't know.
Right.
I'm sort of I try to stay on a 5-year plan, but in terms of like retirement. I know I'm gonna take some time off, maybe about 6 months to a year, to kind of spend some time with Tianda and do some traveling and things like that. Some things that we kind of missed out on. Try to do that. We want to do that's first and foremost. Try to travel and do some things like that. Just internationally. Just try to get away and hang out and just have fun, man, for about 6 months to a year, and then I'll probably get back into the defense sector doing some things. But if not, I may dip my hand into some politics.
Now, this might be a controversial thing to say, but I think you got too many. I think you have too much integrity to be in politics. But with that said, we need good people like you for the people.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
That's a cutthroat game.
Well, you know what, Ben? Whenever I take the uniform off and I can talk with no attribution, I would love to have a conversation with both of y'all about politics. But not right now.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I understand. Yeah. Well, if anything, I'm gonna let you know right now, Sandog, I'm proud of you, man.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
I'm so proud of you, even from you to even First on Smalls, how much he achieved, but especially you, like you went up to new heights because you were the first person I saw transfer over to officer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
First person.
I can tell you, man. I mean, like the whole crew, right? And I'm gonna name some names on here, like Robbie Strickland, Delano Tate, also known as Marcel Tate, Roy Green, Spencer Stanislaus, Gabriel Hamilton. I mean, I could go on and on, man. All of this, like that group of individuals, man, I try to stay connected with and try to make sure that we all, just bounce ideas off each other and things like that. I mean, and to include you guys too, so we can kind of stay connected and bounce ideas out. But those guys are sort of like the nucleus of the folks that I came in with. It's still like Robert Odom, right? Me and old dog, we still talk at least once a week, so we can stay grounded and I know y'all know Odom too. Everybody knows Odom, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So we just started, we just try to stay connected, man, so we can have a sense of purpose. I'm pretty much the only one out of that group that's still serving. And it's incredibly difficult to have your whole peer group that's now retired, and I'm still serving. But I do appreciate you guys cheering me on and making sure that because I'm telling you, like, y'all don't know how much you guys helped me in terms of still serving, right? So if I want to know the attitude, the national mood of folks coming in, I could easily pick up the phone and call y'all and say, "Hey, man, what's going on with this?" Because it could be something. Because I'm insulated. I'm in the military, right? I don't know what's going on in the civilian sector like y'all do. Y'all see it every day,
right?
Well, I work here on post at Fort Campbell, so I talk to soldiers every day. So because I contract.
But not even that though, right? So being a civilian, you hear things that I don't hear. Because I'm still serving. So it's different talking to a veteran than talking to someone you're gonna get two totally different answers.
Yeah.
You're talking to someone that's still serving and then talking to a veteran, right? It's two totally different, it's two totally different things. So just I really appreciate having the context and having, the ability to talk to you guys and bounce ideas off of y'all. And really seeing you, I mean, hell, I saw John, man, me. And we were down in Columbus, man. Hey, two cats he didn't even know. Well, actually, one of the cats went to the same high school he went to, but he was a little bit older than John. So we just kind of fell right in, man. And I'm there for a promotion. Hey, John showed up at the freaking cigar lounge, man. We smoking cigars like it ain't nothing.
That's right, man. It's just the three of us.
That's just, what I'm saying? But see, so that's what the military gives you.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you the camaraderie of, hey, man, everybody's like-minded. We know how to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm not sure it's like that. I'm not sure it's like that in the civilian world. So
that's right.
That's probably what I'm going to miss, man, whenever I do transition. Like, the whole camaraderie and just connecting with it, people that I like being around,
That's one thing that people ask me, what do you miss about the military? And that's the first thing I say. I miss the camaraderie and I miss the relationships that I built, because you're right. When I first got out and I went to the oil fields in North Dakota, was working in the oil fields, we had that camaraderie. Everybody was out for themselves. And it really kind of hurt me because people will throw you under the bus quick in the civilian world. And I'm not saying that's everywhere. I'm just saying that the experiences that I've had working in the civilian world, even being a veteran, people were so-called respect you because you're a veteran, but they'll throw you under the bus quick. And I learned that, and it really kind of hurt my heart, because the type of guy I am, that I'll take my shirt off and give it to somebody if they need it. And that's how I've been brought up in the military, and that's how I feel that I do for any one of you guys, any one of my fellow veterans, So it's definitely a transition, and we've talked about it on the past too with McKinstry and Ford, that all of us has fell into a slight depression getting out, because reality hits. You go from having that structure being in and then getting out, and it's just it's kind of an unknown. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
yeah.
In closing, Mike, you got anything you want to leave for the platform?
Well, like I said, from the opening, I appreciate what John is doing with the Swaggy Vets, and I appreciate you being, and asking me to come on here, man. You all, I think Swaggy Vets, what you're doing, John, across, all different layers of society and the civilian world right now, I think it's a good thing, man. You're doing what you're doing. I know you got your hands in, like my dad used to say, boy, you got a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. My dad is
rest in peace.
Carlos Sanford, man. But he always said, Michael, boy, you got your hands, boy, you got a lot of irons in the fire. Boy, you want to try to, but that's okay.
That's right.
Okay, man. Continue to keep those irons in the fire.
Yeah.
That's important, right? You're doing important and you're doing God's work. Because our veterans,
yes, sir.
Our veterans need to be their need. I mean, you can never do enough. You can never do enough for our veterans, man. So continue doing what you're doing, and don't ever let someone tell you that, hey, what you're doing is not useless work, because it's very, very, very worthwhile to continue doing what you're doing.
Yes,
so
sir.
I appreciate you, and I commend you doing what you're doing, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. And I know you got your battle buddy on board with you, old Bradley Pinkerton. That's a good battle buddy to have, because he was my battle buddy at one time. Although he, you can poke him and he'll damn blow up. Hey, I call him Honey Bun Pen.
That's my best friend, man.
My best friend. Yeah.
I love. Hey, look, man. Look, I love me some Pen, man.
That's
But
right. Who don't love Pen?
Yeah, man. But keep doing what you're doing, man. I really appreciate you guys having me on here, and I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing as long as I'm healthy, I'm in the right mind, and I'm able to take care of these soldiers and families. I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing, man. And but I will, dare to say that I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing without my family and my wife and strong support system, and that includes you all. The strong support system doesn't only include my family, but includes my extended family, and that's you all as well. Because
appreciate that, man.
Anytime somebody says, "Hey, man, keep pushing," right? Any little thing like that helps me, because it's some days, man, where I'm like, I don't know, because I'm over 20. You know what I'm saying? So I could, I could go into work tomorrow and be like, I'm done. But like the thing that keeps me going is I want to be here to make room for somebody else. And somebody else that looks like me. So I have to be there. I have to be that shining light to say to someone to look up, some NCO, some private, some lieutenant to look up and say, man, look at what Lieutenant Colonel Sanford's doing, right? So they can see someone that looks like them that's doing well. So that's sort of that's in the back of my mind, like, man, I want to try to continue doing it to make sure that they can have a good example to see that they can do it too.
That's right.
And that's kind of what drives me. So,
man, we
Swaggy Vet apparel in my you know, I already bought a shirt from you now, John.
Yeah, what was that last time?
I got a shirt and I got some socks.
Yeah,
I need that hat that Penn got on right there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we got you. We got you, brother. We can bring it down to the reunion, man.
We got it all for you. We're gonna have it coming in. It's in the road right now.
Hey. So you're gonna have that. So you're gonna bring your stuff to the next reunion, right? So you're gonna have like a whole setup and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir. That's the whole purpose.
And then the thing about it, the website's going live too, so we'll be able to, and we'll market that so the website will go live, and we can sell some merch on the website so people can help out, so we can build some income here, so we can further advance Swaggy Vets into helping veterans, not only with being swaggy, you know, but and also help, you know, navigate the VA. Also, we got a lot in store, so
okay,
looking forward to it.
But man, last but not least, when I retire, I told my wife, I'm growing me some dreads. I'm telling you that.
No way.
Hey, look. I'm gonna get the whole transition starter kit. Right? I'm gonna get the whole transition starter kit. I'm growing me some dreads, man.
Hey, like we said, when you decide, call me. I got you. Yep. Anything else you want to transition with, call me. I got you. The Swaggy Vets.
Yep. My man said you can get the transition starter kit.
I'm getting the whole transition starter kit.
Everything, man. Everything about soldiers got to go out the door.
Yep.
Hey, Penn, you gonna stop the live? Let's talk to Sanford.
All right, y'all. We'll holler.